for the small camera, you see. Hey up YouTube. Hey up YouTube. Well, me and Lance, we are in a real motor car because he has got a Land Rover recently. So we are having a look at some planes at a museum. Now that over there is a B-29 Super Fortress. Now that is the same plane as I filmed in North Yorkshire, in Yorkshire, wherever it was, when that had crashed. So, me and Lance, wave, say hi Lance.
Hey Lance.
So we're going to go in here, have a nosy.
SNJ, which is a Navy version of the AT6 or the T6 Texan. Basic aviation trainer for back in the day. This is the famous B-17.
B-17, yeah, not similar then. Yeah, you don't want to be sat at front of there really. Front gunner.
There's still a few of those flying.
Man crew, 50 cows.
I never follow the directions.
Yeah, me neither normally. So that's to start them, I think, isn't it?
No, that's just a fire extinguisher.
All right, yeah. Big red one.
It's a B-24 Liberator.
I've heard the name Liberator.
That's what it is.
Because you see, it's like the fuel's in the wings normally.
Yeah, fuel in the wings. There's probably, I imagine there's some in the fuselage, but mostly in the wings.
Yeah, because you know when the big wheel goes up there, and I thought, well, there's not a lot of room for fuel in there.
Stuck in that ball turret when it lands, it looks like it's pretty close to the ground.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think. Can they go up into the plane then from there, or?
I think on the B-29 it did. I don't know about this one. The B-17, no. So
Yeah, I don't.
can say that I'm incorrect, but.
Yeah, I won't want to be. Definitely won't want to be. My grandfather was me.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, my dad was. He was born later, so no, he was born after the war.
My grandmother's had 3 brothers that all fought over there, and she had a cousin that died at Normandy.
Yeah. You know whereabouts in Normandy?
I don't.
No. So are these little jets on the end then?
That is correct.
Yeah. So that can actually probably take quite a bit of weight.
Yeah.
Bit of an ugly thing, but
This was used, I mean, this was the first refueler, the KC-97. KC meaning the K is for refueling, C is for cargo.
yeah.
And of course they were trying to refuel the early jets with a propeller airplane, so that's why they needed something to give them a little bit more
Oomph.
oomph.
Yeah.
They such a unique looking double bubble fuselage on that.
It's an ugly duckling.
It's ugly in a good looking way, you know. Never really paid much attention to this, unfortunately. I'm thinking that this has got a lot of DC-3 components on it, just from the look of it.
more components to do. That's one of ours.
There you go. And I believe this still belongs to you guys.
All right.
This is on loan. If they shoot a sequel to Thunderball, they'll probably use it again. Remember Thunderball?
Yeah, the film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They landed one in the water.
The what in the water?
The movie Thunderball, the James Bond film.
Yeah.
They landed a Vulcan in the water.
All right. That was this.
Yeah.
Ah.
Not this particular one, but I'm sure it was a model, actually.
Yeah, I'm gonna say they're not gonna really do a real one.
In 65. Fat wing on it.
It has, yeah. So are the actual single jet engines in there, do you know, or
It's got 4.
it's got 4 of them in? Oh, you can see them at our end actually, yeah. That's like fiberglass. Oh, so the hatch is there so they can get in.
A couple times a year they have an open cockpit day here. And
Yeah.
you can get up in these.
That'd be pretty cool.
The air control was like Vietnam. And it was designed so that a single engine pilot could fly a twin engine airplane.
Yeah.
With centerline thrust. The civilian version is just a Cessna Skymaster. Or a Cessna 337. Movie Bat 2-1 with Gene Hackman and Danny Glover.
Yeah.
Danny Glover's a pilot of one of these things.
Alright. That rings a bell to that film actually.
Good movie if you ever have a chance to watch it. Bat 2-1 it's called.
It's like, it needs to be more like in Alaska, does this one?
That's right, it's a beaver.
Radial engine. I wonder how many of these would still run.
Oh man, they put all kinds of stuff on it. They put turboprop engines on them.
It's a fairly well tough thing.
That's a flying truck.
Yeah. And I dare say it'd take off in very short runway.
Yeah.
Would that? Because of the width.
I mean, it's got big flaps. It's also got huge ailerons, so even at slow speeds it'd be maneuverable.
Yeah. There's lots like this in California. all the snobs going out to get sandwiches somewhere. Oh yeah, we'll just nip to Canada and buy a sandwich. Yeah. Is this a Cessna?
Cessna 310.
Yeah.
I do not know what the military designation is. This one's outfitted for, it's like reconnaissance, judging by the size of the
Yeah.
dome.
And the fat belly.
Say again?
And the fat belly.
Yeah.
Mind you, nowadays you do it all with satellites, don't they, really?
That's right. Over here we got
Zoom in on Google Maps.
Gulf Cobra and then a Black Hawk next to it. Actually, it's a Navy Seahawk.
That's got beast of blades on that thing. Seems really, really narrow, does that, doesn't it?
It is. That was a gunship. It was a pretty heavy-duty gunship.
Because having blades like that, it must have been fairly manoeuvrable.
Maneuverable and noisy.
I wonder if they've got the old Huey here. You know, the Vietnam Huey.
I don't know if the sheriff flies one around here. You might see one
Yeah,
out
right.
there.
I've never seen one. I've seen them on TV, but I thought that'd be nice.
It's an HN-60B Seahawk. I'm not sure. I'm not familiar with that.
But this looks like it's just been flown here a couple of weeks ago.
This one over here actually was. This Chinook was flown in, maybe, I don't know, 8 or 9 years ago from National Guard down in Fresno.
Yeah.
And the pilot that flew it up put his Jeep Cherokee in the back.
So you could drive home.
So he could drive home. And he flew it in, and they said, "Oh, great! Now how are you going to get home?" He said, "I got that covered." He opens up the back, drives his Jeep out, and that's the helicopter.
To be fair,
That's what you need. Everybody needs one of those.
yeah, it is right to do. I have actually. God, it even goes up there. Look, this place.
Yeah.
But I've seen so many of these going over my house, and you can hear them coming. You know, with the twin rotors.
There's one went over our house about maybe a week ago.
Yeah. You know, it's a unique. I like the skeleton in the front. Look.
Well, they rebuild them. Boeing still rebuilds these for the Navy SEALs.
All right.
They'll lower them. They'll put the gear up. They lower the back end into the water, and you drive a fast response boat
Straight out
right,
the back.
right,
All right.
right up into it
Yeah.
from the water. They and then they walk in and go.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I think he's waiting for his tea in the back of there. Look, at the front of there. 200 mile an hour. Only a crew of 3. Mind you, I suppose if it's a transport.
The ports in the side here are for, I believe those are flares.
The round ones.
The round ones.
Yeah. So, yeah, distraction flares.
Yeah.
So, what are the actual rotors made out of? Are they actually made out of metal, or are they like fibre?
That I don't know. I imagine it's a composite.
Oh,
I asked my son, but if he told me, he'd have to kill me.
yeah. Well, that's aluminium.
Yeah, that's just. You know where they curve
So it
back
might-
like this,
Yeah.
so that when the rotor tips will break the sound barrier, it's not as noisy.
All right.
You know, have you ever heard helicopters like in the old movies, and you come in and
Yeah.
it's because the tips are going faster than the speed of sound.
Yeah.
There's a problem with the Deweys, you could hear them coming. These are still noisy, but
But that looks an awful lot of weight to flex on that when it's up in the air.
well, the guitar, the acoustic guitar that has the round back, Glenn Campbell used to play one. Okay, Charles Kamen was a guitar player, and that was his sideline, but he was ultimately he was an aerospace engineer and came up with Kamen helicopters. So this is his design. Rotors are side by side, and these are really heavy lift.
Yeah.
They still use this Kamen designs for a lot of logging applications.
So is it?
This one's kind of in poor repair, unfortunately. The
Yeah.
broke off.
So how does the other thing goes on? Oh, so it must go at an angle.
Like this. They go like this.
Yes, it goes at an angle. Yeah.
Yeah,
You can just see the angle lens, because otherwise it's gonna be
Yeah, this is a shame. This is
Catastrophe.
in such a terrible shape. But
yeah, because that's I've never must be pretty unique having them like that.
yeah, just the engineering of it, you know.
Let's see if we got the winch on it as well. That actually looks like wood.
Yeah, those were wood. They had composite around them. Of course, reinforced. You see, this had a control, a pitch control for the trim tab down at the end. It's frozen up, but this rod would move in and out.
Yeah.
To move that control. So that's how they controlled it. They didn't use, like the other helicopters, they use a swash plate to control the pitch. These rotors actually flew themselves.
Yeah.
They actually had flight controls on the blade themselves. You see, this is built like a 1930s surfboard.
Yeah. I suppose it did the job,
It worked.
and it had some grunt, because if it could lift stuff. Yeah. It's used for the small camera, you see.
Got a winch over it so you can use it for recovery, search and rescue.
Familiar shape, like you see it in the 1930s type.
These were used like during the Berlin airlift and flying stuff over the hump. in the-
C-46, yeah. Like the camels on the side. That's different. They are just, yeah. And I've been on one.
You have?
Yeah.
So
Not flying, but
Oh.
I've been on one on that museum.
I got to fly around Fresno on my lunch hour once on one.
It's just,
Good looking. You know, it's old, but it looks right.
it does. It just looks.
It's like,
I don't know if it's because of the, you know, the.
used to seeing them.
Yeah, it's just the iconicness of it as well.
I especially love the nose art on this one. I have to say that's.
And the seats in the back, when you the seats that are going down the side, they're all just curved aluminium, and then the buckles in.
Like a Land Rover, just looks right.
Yeah, it does. Aesthetically pleasing.
That is too.
Yeah, I won't say no. She might, but I don't.
Aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah.
But over here is the best looking airplane they ever built.
A Vulcan. Is that the Vulcan?
B-52.
Oh, is this your baby?
This is my old friend over here.
So this is the one that you used to mend.
Not this particular airplane. We didn't have this one in our squadron when I was stationed in Texas. And when I got stationed here, this was already on display. But this is the type, the exact type.
So you know every little nut and bolt in the things.
At one time I did.
It's quite a beast of a thing, isn't it? I didn't realise how big it is.
My memory's going, so it'd all be new to me.
Well, you'll probably remember later on.
I remember just climbing up in the wheel wells to service hydraulics.
So many just cables, wires, and
Yep.
and they all seem to be all white. You know, they don't seem to be colour coded. They all seem to be all white. Even like the little lights on the landing lights.
Yeah, we'd have to change those.
Looks like a Land Rover headlight, does that?
They might be a bit brighter.
I don't know. Well, yeah. A candle's a bit brighter, really.
That's
So is it, what's this?
that's an early version of the cruise missile, and I believe that's a hound dog.
So this actually comes off
Yes.
to shoot somebody.
For back in the day, it was high tech. By today's dates, you know, the navigation system on it would be like, but point and shoot. But back in the day, that was what they had.
So what's the engines of these?
J-57.
That's 8 engines, that's a lot. Yeah, I've got to say, it's such a beast of a thing.
Big airplane. But you work on it long enough, you don't even, the size doesn't faze you. It just doesn't look, you get used to it. It's just, that, it is what it is. You know?
Yeah.
That's the size of it. $2,000 gallons of fuel it would hold.
Oof. That won't last long.
Total of 12 tanks. The tip tanks are 3,000 gallons apiece.
So would it use them first?
No,
No.
use those practically last.
Yeah.
The reason is they like to keep them full. Under a heavy load, the wings would actually flex and tip up backwards. Like
Yeah.
I said, the tips would flex up and down 18.5 feet.
Jesus, yeah.
And that's just the way it was designed.
Yeah, that is a lot.
The flaps are up, but if the flaps were down, you'd see fuel lines. Well, most of the fuel lines actually went through the fuel tanks on this, but you'd see pneumatic lines and hydraulic lines. This airplane had 10 separate hydraulic systems.
Backups for backups?
Backups for backups, but also they did their own thing. You know, you had one each for each main landing gear. You had 2 for the tail. You had, you know, for the flight controls. This airplane actually, this is a D model. So these were built 56 and 57. This actually had an aileron on it, but it also had spoilers.
Hmm.
The later model, the G and the H models, only had the spoilers on the top. So
Through there, this wing is the same size as that aeroplane. It's actually bigger than that the whole aeroplane.
it is. Beat the bottom of the plane, and I stood up on this side over here. That doesn't go when you hit it with the top of your head.
No, I bet it
was
doesn't.
out cold, and my friend had pulled me over to the curb of the side of where we were washing it. I came around and was like, wow.
What are them, just little wing things?
No, they're antennas,
All right.
but they don't give.
Yeah. They're a bit harder in your head.
And they are a lot harder than my hard head.
So these holes here, these...
For chaff, it's like foil.
Yeah, so it radar of other rockets coming in and it confuses it.
That's correct.
So how long would it stay airborne? Or could it stay
They
airborne?
had 3 of them from here that went around the world.
Yeah.
Fueled
On the way, or...
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
So-
fueled in the air.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
they're up
technically,
as
as
well.
long as you need.
Yeah.
The crew is the determining factor.
Yeah.
Crew, bladder. No, they had a can.
A can.
Literally a can. Okay, one time I went to get the gunner. When they landed, you had
Yeah.
to bring a big work stand up here, right? So that he could get out of the hatch because he's not going to fall. all the way
Yeah.
down. Pops the hatch open, and I'm pushing the stand up. Well, he'd use the little urinal, the little handheld urinal, and it just decided to throw it back in the hatch well. I pushed the stand up as he opens the hatch. It was leaking. I got covered. I got rained on.
Peed on.
Yeah, I gave him a choice word or two. I hate being called
You
a
see,
peon, but he proved it.
Yeah, his memories like that are pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I'll tell you a story about the B-47. The big silver one. I was stationed here when this landed. And it had been a radar target down at China Lake for many, many years, just sitting on a sand dune, I guess, is what I was told.
Mm.
So they sent some of the old chiefs that had B-47 experience down to help get this thing to where they could actually fly it up. Mind you, they had not flown one of these in 20 years.
Yeah.
One of these had not flown in 20 years. So they got a 2-star general and a colonel to fly up in it. And found out later on the airspeed indicator did not work the whole flight. And on final approach to land here, they lost control of the outboard ailerons, the hydraulic system.
Yeah.
So they went to land, and 15 feet in the air, they stalled it. Number 6 engine hit the ground before the tires hit the ground.
Yeah.
I have it on video at home.
All right.
And they were filming it for the news. The news crews were sitting back behind some blast fences. So on the news, it just looked like the airplane came down nice and easy, went behind the blast fences and rolled out. But for those of us who were sitting out right on the edge of the flight line, this thing came in, it dropped the right way, hit number 6 engine, and you could hear about a dozen of us go, "Oh shit!" Because we thought it was going to be a big wad. But they knocked the dents out of the number 6 engine, because when they pull up and park, they parked it this side toward the crowd,
Yeah.
that side away from the crowd.
So they didn't see the
The
dent.
tail of the engine was like this,
Yeah.
and both wingtips were just dripping hydraulic fluid. So the fact they got it down
It one
is
piece.
a miracle.
Oh, a drone. A very early drone. So the B-52, so primarily what was that for? Was that for bombing or?
Strategic bomber. And they could do low level, they could do high altitude. You know, if they're at 42,000 feet, you wouldn't even hear them overhead.
Yeah. Painted on that really,
It
doesn't
should
it?
be.
On the inside.
Our great big old Rolling Stones tongue sticking out of this.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Bigger engines on them.
Yeah. And therefore,
Cargo and aerial refueling.
yeah.
There's some still in use.
I actually forgot about it in Arizona. There's a big graveyard, a big plane graveyard.
Davis Monthan.
Yeah, that I wanted to go to, but I didn't notice it.
Like the DC-3 is, this just looks right.
Yeah.
It's one of those airplanes you picture. Of course, the 707, the Boeing 707 airliner, was a derivative of this.
Yeah.
It was kind of like designed slightly after. Almost at the same time, they had longer wings than these. These had the same engines as the B-52, J-57s.